Hi, this is Kim with www.embody-light.com. So I'm back with another video talking about the oversoul and the collectives and cloud nine, as I call it. So, and I spoke about this on other videos, but just to, in case anybody's just seeing this. So within a soul, um, lifespans, incarnations, we have what's called our higher self, which is our oversoul. And so this is our soul. And within this soul, we send out different experiences. We send out a part of our soul into different experiences, put it that way. And we can have up to 8 at one time. Some people do this, some people do not. So within the oversoul, you have all these different lifetime of experiences and personalities. And the specific group that one of the specific groups I've been working with is a group of musicians and actors and people who have brought through magnetism um, our experience to us through sound. So what they do is they frequently people who have this sound thing, and most likely you've had a past lifetime in on Arcturus. You'll hear the music playing in your mind, or you'll put the radio on, and the verse is just what you need to hear to answer a question. That's how they work with people. And so, this group of magicians and actors, not all musicians and actors, but many of them that have crossed over are in this collective of magnetic service. That's what it's called. The Magi, magnetic service. And they bring us synchronicities and signs into our third dimensional reality. So they're bringing from the crown, they're bringing in the vibration, which goes into the third eye and goes into the voice. And our voice is our blueprint. So that and this can be used for good or bad, so that when we're singing or listening to this music, it's changing our frequency. And so, as I spoke of earlier, and here's the picture here. This is one of my guides. This is somebody, Paul Lynn, that I had a past life with. He was also, as I spoke in one of my last videos, and I found all the names now, he's also, his full name he was Uncle Arthur on Bewitched, but his full name when he was Mozart also in a different timeline. His full name was Johannes Chrysanthemous Wolfgang Theophilus Mozart. And I told you the part about the Theophilus. This is in one of my last videos. This was somebody in an early incarnation that I had who was my father. I did a meditation and I got the name Theophilus. I never heard of anybody named Theophilus until I found this. And that's when I started hearing from this man, and he started filling me in on some of the history. So, anyways, I wanted to know because within this collective are people like Prince, Michael Jackson, many others. And we've all known that some of our actors and musicians have sold out, signed contracts, that kind of thing, and that's how they got famous. But what they tell me is they had to come in and play in the darkness to shift it. They had to come in, experience it, be born into it, and understand it so that the planet can ascend. So they will have had some lifetimes that they had more of a malevolent, and some where they've had more of a benevolent purpose. And so it was all for the purpose of ascension on this planet. I know a lot of people will talk about some of the horrible things that and some of them have done really horrible things that actors and actresses and that kind of thing has done. Um, and it's for the purpose of balance. I wanted to ask who this collective was. Are they Arcturians, from Cyrus B? And that's what I was told. 90% of this particular collective have had past lifetimes on those planets. I wanted to know, are they from the angelic realm, the 144,000 that incarnate onto the planet? No, but could be, not specifically. They told me the angels have basically their own collective and they work on a more broader perspective because they're the ones bringing all kinds of things into your life. If you've ever heard of the choir of angels, if you've ever heard them singing, they are from this collective. Um, it's more it's more of a what would they say, a grouping according to purpose and goal of oversouls united for the same purpose to return earth to Eden, is what they told me, as it was in the beginning. So a concentration of consciousness makes it more powerful. And so by them grouping together, they're able to bring that vibration to the planet to the point where people can hear them. So I just wanted to use the example of um, of this being, Paul Lind and Mozart. Um, and some of this is made up, and some of it's true. And I was in communication with him when I was writing this. So if just look at the oversoul as a big circle, it showed me that. And within that circle are all these little circles, are all different lifetimes and the personalities of the lifetime that make up the sum total of this individual oversoul. That can send out up to 8 different incarnations at one time. And so the oversoul's purpose is to achieve balance. So just take this lifetime of Mozart back in the 1700s and Paul Lind, where first was through music, then Paul Lind was through on the Bewitched show through ideology and poetry and all that. They were giving us hints to what was about to come and how to overcome those. But so say those 2 lifetimes were successful and he achieved, there wouldn't be any reason to, except for wanting to assist with the ascension of the planet, for them to send out another being or energy to have another lifetime. It just wouldn't be necessary. So say those lifetimes were complete, but say he had other lifetimes that weren't, and this is the made up part. So say okay, so he had the lifetime of Theophilus, Mozart, and Paul Lind. Those were all 3 that didn't need to be counteracted. But then the made up part is, he had a lifetime, maybe he was one of the Roman soldiers that were under King Herod when they were ordered to kill all of the children when they knew that the Christ child was born, all of the male children. Well, when he left, if that was true, when he left that time, that would have left a deficit where he had to find some balance. So then maybe he would have come into a lifetime where maybe he was in the Spanish Inquisition or something and killed for having spiritual abilities. Those 2 lifetimes would have balanced out each other. So it's all about balance and experience, and they're here for the long haul, for this basically this 26,000 year cycle. And the interesting thing is, and I've talked about this before, but now I'm going to give you a more specific example. So you've got this oversoul, and this actually happened, but I can't say the names. This isn't the same oversoul that I was talking of earlier, just for privacy reasons, and it wouldn't be appropriate. But so say you've got an oversoul, and one being is born of the oversoul, and say they're born into the 80s, and they're born to a very spiritually gifted mother, so Spiritually, genetically, they are, you could consider them ahead of their time or more advanced because of the mother and probably the father's powerful genetic history. And they'll make an impact because of his lineage. He's going to be sought after highly by the establishment or the cabal. So he's basically tricked, gave consent, and tricked into another lifetime that led him into a nefarious purpose. Well, this individual, and I mean, there can be so many other things that happen too. If they were taken into the secret space program and all this, they could have been cloned, and a lot of things could happen. They have technology to do all kinds of weird things. But this young man, at some point after what he'd agreed to without knowing, he changed and became very different. He had an entity attachment, and only a portion of his original soul still remained. So we're going to call this child A. So child A is still alive, but still looks like the same person, but is just a completely, has some of the same personality, but has completely changed, is completely different, is no longer a loving, kind person, put it that way. So what can happen is, so this soul who had this assignment that they came in to be born into, that he didn't make because he was overtaken or whatever, he also had from that same oversoul, born around the same time, another male individual. We're going to call this child B. So child A got compromised. He was very spiritually gifted and would have been able to do a lot of things, but he sold out. Child B is born, and because they're from the same oversoul and have parallel lives, what happened is the mission, the strength, the goals, all were, I guess you could call it, gifted, downloaded, upgraded, however you want to say this, to this other individual, this other part of his oversoul, this other person that was born, because he could not take on the assignment. I've also heard of this happen where one person has died and the other lifetime takes on the assignment. But this first person didn't die. So this other person in this parallel lifetime was a musician. He was local, not well known, not signed by anyone when this happened. He was doing his own thing and he was happy. But because we'll just call it the good in child A was usurped, a larger portion of the oversoul came into child B. And when this happened, child B took over the purpose for child A. And this person did not sell out, and did his own thing, lived within integrity, lived within the law of one. And what happened was he then, without selling out, became an established musician on his own. So what had happened was a larger portion of the oversoul had integrated with child B. We could call it upgraded. We could call it a DNA activation. We could call it an awakening or a Kundalini experience. And then he managed to accelerate his music career. And when you listen to the music, and again, I can't tell you who it is or what the situation is, when you listen to the music that Child B wrote and composed and put out there, the story of what happened to Child A is actually written within the songs of Child B, and you can see it. Now, I know the mother of Child A, and she came to me to find out what happened to her child. It was Actually, it was one of the secret soldier kind of situations, and I can't go into any more detail. But so when I told her this story, and I thought it felt ridiculous, although I had been channeling Prince, and Prince was the one that was helping me to make these connections and find this individual. But when I told the mother about this, and this person's well known, you can look him up, and she looked him up and saw the picture, she was just blown away because that child, I don't know, she didn't tell me that part, but child B looked exactly like her. He, even though she didn't give birth to him in this lifetime, it was just uncanny the way they looked. They looked like they were mother and child. And when she heard the music, some of it, I don't know if she's listened to it all yet, she was able to recognize it and find the story within it. So that's what can happen. All kinds of strange things can happen with the oversoul, but it is really true. And so your oversoul is constantly sending out experiences and people, not constantly, but frequently, so that the main goal is accomplished. So maybe it would send out one lifetime as an accountant in one sanctuary, one lifetime as a doctor in another century. One being would be maybe a musician. All these different experiences come back together into the oversoul, and it makes a very well-rounded, experienced individual. So then when a larger part of that oversoul integrated with child B, he took on the perspectives of all these other lifetimes, and it really helped to accelerate his life to the point where it wanted to be. So I hope that makes sense. I know this is getting a little out there and a little confusing, but it really is true. So with that, I wanted to say I love you all. Have a blessed day. I'm Kim with www.embody-light.com. And please remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so. And visit my website. I have appointments available. I do readings, I do Akashic Record work, twin flame work, energy healing, sound healing, hypnotherapy, past life regressions, basically a lot of different things. So, again, have a blessed day. I love you all. Bye bye.